5 hooded captives kneel in the rubble, every one of them already counted dead by the empire that sent them. Ash holds the dossier and runs his eyes over names that should never have surfaced from any official ledger. This is the 8th team of the Igis Counterintelligence Corps, kneeling in the dirt outside the war camp. The Empire's invisible knife, the unit you call when the kingdom needs blood without witnesses or names. Alice steps in front of the kneeling line, eyes flat, and tells her that God Hand does not seem like her real name. The voice goes lower, gentler, more dangerous. He heard, he says, that her team committed treason against the Empire. She lifts her green-haired face from inside the hood and gives him only 3 dots in answer. Silence as policy. No confession, no denial, no fear. Years of training have taught her exactly how dangerous one wrong word becomes. Ash already knows the math. The second she answers honestly, the Empire ends her family back home. He admits the truth in his own head. He has to persuade them. He has to make these killers his subordinates. The boots crunch over blood-stained gravel as he closes the distance. He has, he says, a few small curiosities. Then the smile, soft and brutal. You're going to die anyway. Cooperate or don't, the bones will sit here regardless. Ash starts naming things he should not know, claiming he is reading her files straight out of his system windows. Even her character profile, tagged Godhand SR in glowing blue, only carries the lines the Empire wants found. Their team was dispatched to the Bringer Dukedom 1 year ago, a tiny X drawn on a paper map of the front. The war began 6 months ago. Cannons firing into smoke, banners burning. The killing has not stopped since. Behind the hood, her eyes go wide. 2 green coins of pure shock from a woman trained never to react. Ash takes her silence as confession and steps back into shadow, ready to lay out the theory in full. Number 1. Someone high in the Empire wanted Bringer's land, so he sent an ambassador and killed him with secret forces. Number 2. Then he blamed the Dukedom for the murder and lit the war. The dead ambassador became a flag. 3 months ago, the orders came down again. Different paper, same hand, move the 8th team to the front lines. Behind her hood, the face hardens, every line of it confirming the math. She has waited a year to hear this aloud. Get rid of the special ops team to silence them. Her lips peel back into something almost like a smile. Even if His Highness's assumptions are correct, she finally murmurs, the words barely scraping out of a parched throat. His next sentence cuts harder than the last. Because right now, every single one of her people is living as a slave. The Empire holds their kin like sword points pressed into bare throats. One word from her ends every life back home. The cuffs around her wrists clink as her hands clench. He guesses out loud, almost casually, that he is right. Smart, the prince says, foolish at the same time. The compliment lands like a slap meant to wake the dying. Even if His Highness's assumptions are correct, she repeats, slower this time, cracking under the weight of being known. The captive at her shoulder finally speaks. He does not understand why the prince is saying any of this to them. Ash exhales. The breath catches the cold air and rises like white dust over the broken courtyard. He lifts the orders in his gloved hand and tells them the document does not specify how the execution must happen. The instructions read like routine paperwork. Send the team to the battlefront. Report that the execution has been carried out. Behind him, the monster front shakes the horizon, banners shredding in the wind that drags the next wave forward. She watches him with the dossier raised between them, the parchment trembling slightly in the wind off the wall. He explains the loophole. The orders only request a report. They do not specify whose blade actually finishes the job. Her green eyes flicker. For the first time in a year, she is hearing a voice that wants her breathing tomorrow. Ash kneels low enough that the kneeling line cannot avoid him. Are they willing, he asks, to extend their pathetic lives? His face stays calm. No mockery. Only the offer of a man who has counted every body in the rubble. Her hands lock into a fist inside the steel cuff. Do not give them false hope, she warns him quietly. The hooded heads beside her bow in the same arc, two birds folding under the same blow they have already taken before. However, she breathes. The bruised mouth opens around the word like it costs blood to push past her teeth. 3 pale cherry blossoms drift through the wind around her, soft petals against the rust of the courtyard floor. A small boy alone in a black void, shorts and striped shirt, because if they dream of the future, they get betrayed. Ash hears the line because he has been that boy. He answers, gently, that all he is giving them is an opportunity. She lifts her hooded head, lips parting around a question her training will not let her form aloud. Ash looks past her to the broken Crossroad gate where Lucas waits, blonde hair lit by the dying sun. It is because this place needs them. Behind him, the Demolisher silhouettes mass in the smoke, getting stronger by the day. 2 red-armored soldiers hold the inner gate, spears raised, the metal already chipped from the last assault. If this district falls, the kin they protect back home die anyway. He bows his head an inch. A prince never bows. His boots step closer over the cracked tile. Every footfall measured, every footfall an offer she did not ask for. Please, he says. Help him ultimately protect their kin. The word please from a third prince lands heavier than gold. Her bruised lip trembles. The smile she gives back is small and very tired, the kind worn down by years of orders. They made a promise to the Corps. Complete the missions, be quietly disposed of, and the kin live 1 more year. 2 captives watch Ash now, side by side, masks dropped just enough to see the prince behind the title. They are practically living sacrifices, she says, and they have already accepted that fate without flinching. She bows her head. Excuse her insolence, but if he cannot take responsibility for them, then please leave the courtyard. Then please take responsibility for them till the end, he answers, voice softer than the cold wind off the wall. Her eyes snap up, sharp green, refusing to be lied to a second time by another well-dressed mouth. Behind her, the second captive moves first, springing forward with both bound fists pressed against the dirt. Steel rings on steel as their cuffs strike together, a clean, accidental harmony. The pact takes shape mid-bow. Both green-haired faces lift in tandem. One eye winks shut, half mask still on. They have made their choice. They speak with one breath. As the third prince, Ash von Heiter Everblack, please take their lives into his hands. Please, they say in unison. Use them unsparingly until they have nothing left to offer the broken Crossroad walls. Ash looks down at the kneeling pair and smiles. Soft, sure, sealed. He will never throw them away till the very end. Right after returning to Crossroad, Ash scares the prisoner escort column off and the Imperial soldiers scatter into the dust. The captured agent looks back at the broken man, the one who admitted he could not keep his end of the deal. Inside the manor halls, Ash walks the checkered marble alone, weighing what he just stole from the Empire by authority. 100-year war glares back from the hate carved between human armor and elven robes, every grudge stacked in their bones. He arrives at the door behind which the 5 caged agents are sleeping, knife edge calm, no aid beside him. His hand lifts to the wood and stops there, listening to the silence on the other side before he commits. He cracks the door, and what he finds inside is not a barracks but a feast hall, leftover dishes everywhere. Two of the green-haired agents sit on the floor giggling about how good the food was, cheeks flushed with disbelief. The other three sprawl asleep over the table, full bellies, dreaming for the first time in months. The manor at night holds them like a new biome they do not yet understand. They scramble up and bow when they see him, voices polite, eyes already calculating that the act is pointless. Ash steps in close and tells them flatly that it is way too late for any of them to keep performing. He swings a whole basket of bread and snacks down between them, grin sharp, like a host crashing his own party. The agents freeze around the basket, ears twitching, all five suddenly very aware that nobody is being whipped for stealing. They tear into it with the same braided desperation, jaws working in sync, the famine years still under their skin. Ash watches them eat with a face that gives nothing away, neither pity nor warmth, only ledger. He tells them straight there is no need to ration here and they will be fed the same amount of times again. Outside in the courtyard, the five line up under a watchtower at sunset, posture sharpened, codenames already on his tongue. The captain steps forward first, the calm braided one, and the system tags her, codename Godhand, SR rank, the leader. Her gift bites through anything as long as the metal it consists of is iron, a ranged executioner with a punchline. Behind her, the youngest pads forward, baby fat still on her cheeks, codename Bodybag at R rank. She is an expert in close-range shooting, codename Old Girl, smiling like the smallest of them is the most experienced gun. Beside her, the boy hefts twin crossbows in his small hands, codename Skull, naming himself before Ash even asks. Skull stares back with hollow eyes, jaw tight, and Ash admits silently he does not know what this kid has been through. The last one is the quiet woman in the cape, codename Burnout SR, weapon and experimental personal stationary ballista. They warn him she still cannot fully control her own powers, the kind of asset that could level a friend and an enemy in the same breath. Inside the dining room, the five sit again around plates, and Ash listens to them tell him their species can live a little longer this way. It means the elves outside the Empire are nowhere close to a good situation, and his guests are not actually free either. They thank him quietly and say they will reserve this kindness deeply in their hearts, the only currency they have left. Even with their defensive manners cracking open in firelight, Ash knows it will be hard to pull a fully truthful answer out of any of them tonight. He asks how long the five of them have been a team, voice neutral, treading the line between commander and rescuer. Godhand's eyes harden a fraction at the question. The calculation behind her lashes louder than anything she says aloud. The lonely resources left for the elves were chains and silence, generations of them measured against shrinking fields. They received their first training at an early age as future Special Force agents, scrubbed of names long before they ever had codenames. Ash asks the question that has been sitting in his chest since the gallows. Are they really to be disposed of regardless of whether their mission succeeds, from the standpoint of the human empire? Back when elves were humanity's main enemy, there were many ways to play innocent, using another species as lifeless weapons. He pivots, eyes narrowing, and asks them about the Supreme Commander of the Igis Counterintelligence Corps. Godhand goes still in profile, the answer dragging up a name she has spent her career not saying. Ash watches her, one dark eye locked on the elf as the room compresses around the question. A signed page glows on the desk, and the name surfaces, Fernandez, the Minister of Government who handles domestic affairs of the Empire. He is the architect of their leash and also the person who shackled them, two roles in one signature. Godhand kneels and offers a small device with a black trigger, a leash she calls a pledge of loyalty to him. The button remotely kills every member of her team if the enemy ever takes them, and just his name still makes them fear. Ash logs the man as a problem and tells himself plainly that he should keep an eye on Fernandez from this hour on. Anyway, he says, sliding the trigger into a drawer like a chess piece he is not ready to move yet. He asks if they like their room, the warm one with real beds, and watches their cautious smiles fight against habit. Godhand explains that for the past few months they were in jail for death row prisoners, then trapped inside an escort carriage for days. Ash exhales the smallest hiss of breath and admits aloud that decompressing them properly is going to be difficult. Down in the kitchen, the bearded chef in the tall white hat grins and says he heard the elves are mostly vegetarian. He plates a quiet supper using only the remaining ingredients from earlier. No waste, no questions, just clink of jug and bowl. Upstairs, Godhand bows and offers everything they are. They will eat, sleep, and do anything Ash wants from them. Ash cuts that off cold, says he is just an average 21st century Korean city dweller and no way he treats a person like an object. They thank him again, voices steadier now, the 5 of them on the floor in a small, careful row. The youngest grins behind her braids like she has just glimpsed a future her training never accounted for. He raises one calm palm to stop the bowing before it can become a habit they bring into his house. After he leaves, the elves whisper, "The third prince might actually be a good guy. He even gave us a late-night snack. They hope he gives them another one tomorrow." Voices warming in the dark. The sentence itself a small revolution. Ash already knows he should move them to a soundproofed room before the manor staff overhears anything dangerous. He thinks about the larger hostile NPC groups still forming around Crossroad, and how absorbing them could be the next play. With the 8th Igis team folded into his sub-party, the chain synergy hexagon finally has its shadow side. He turns in the corridor and freezes, Lucas already standing there, blonde and unflinching, and Ash sputters, "What are you doing here?" Lucas explains he was prepared to interfere in case anything happened, since these are still death row prisoners charged with treason. The next morning they walk the dirt road together to the blacksmith shop on the edge of Crossroad, smoke rising from its forge. Inside, the bearded smith looks up from his row of finished tools, eyes bright, and tells the prince he was waiting for him. Stage 3 puts 5 days and 14 hours on the clock, and Ash refuses to waste a single hour of it. Morning sun hits the stone walls as the prince walks alone toward the blacksmith's workshop on the lower street. The bearded smith bows behind a small box and announces he has been waiting since dawn for your highness himself. His grin splits the thick beard wide because what he is lifting out is not standard forge work today. Light pours from the open lid like a small sun has been trapped inside the velvet lining. A standard special mana core, full SSR rarity, glows in its cradle. The prize Ash bled an entire stage to claim. Ash cups the orb in his bare palm and feels an entire boss kill pulsing back at him through the glove. Beside it, Evangline's SSR lances and shields gleam on the bench, hauled from previous stages and waiting their turn. The disassembly menu blinks an 8% success rate, and Ash signs off on the gamble without blinking. From a Ratman champion rank, Core 3 pistols are born. Every magazine guaranteed to land its final round as a critical hit. The system tags them Cerberus R, level 25 mana guns that cook ammunition into something the world has never met. Ash smirks and calls them the Guard Dog of Hell, 6 mana firearms now hanging quietly under the prince's red cape. 3 rifles and 3 pistols line up beneath the workshop lamps, the prince's new arsenal staring back at its owner. The smith files them light and thin, mindful of the burden every shot will dump back into the user's body. Ash flicks open his pocket inventory and tells the smith the next equipment must follow immediately, no rest between orders. He sets a second glowing core on the counter and starts walking the smith through the spare boss material. Ash speaks fast and exact, an officer briefing a craftsman, eyes locked on the next monster the game will throw. The bearded smith leans in, dwarfed by the weight of royal patronage, listening like a man taking dictation from a king. Boss equipment, Ash explains, only drops when the boss does, and only the matching mana core unlocks the recipe. Until now, the categories never lined up with what his roster could actually wear into the next gauntlet. The Spectre Knight back in Stage 1 was the same story, a great death that produced nothing usable for the team. Now from the golden Gargoyle's pieces, Ash wants a full golden armor set forged as light and thin as possible. The smith snaps upright outside the shop and swears he will do his absolute best for your highness. Ash nods once and walks straight from the smithy to the alchemist's tall round workshop on the next street over. Inside the workshop, the anti-air artifact repairs are humming along smoothly, exactly the news Ash needed before midday. Then he spots the red braid in the wheelchair and grins, announcing that her favorite prince has finally arrived. Lily turns her face away without a word, the only sound the small whir of her chair on the floorboards. He plays it light, scratching his head, admitting, "Yeah, things turned out like that," voice trying for casual. Her shoulders shake and the tears spill, blaming herself for being born a sorcerer who could never run from the spell. Ash panics, royal composure gone in an instant, begging her not to cry and that he is sorry, truly sorry. Lily wipes her eyes and asks him for a single request, her voice barely above the whir of the chair. She admits she acts talented, but inside the ivory tower she was never the brightest in any class. Without a great teacher pulling her up, the silhouettes of stronger juniors loom over every memory of her training. Greater sorcerers will pour onto the battlefront once Stage 4 truly opens, junior prodigies built sharper than her. She does not want self-made geniuses sneering down at her from above while she sits trapped in this chair. Even if she never walks again, she will take an office job for the Empire. Anything before pity, anything before being shelved. Ash plants himself in front of the wheelchair and swears no juniors and no veterans will ever look down on her again. He grips the handles of her chair and rolls her gently through the doorway, promising anything she needs short of retirement. Lily exhales, eyes closed at last, and tells him quietly that then that's enough, the request complete. Outside, dark clouds churn over Crossroad, branches whipping as the night comes hard and early on the manor roofs. After finishing every duty in the city, Ash walks back to his own manor under a moonlit garden gone silver and cold. At his desk, Ash pulls Jupiter's status card and confirms the bad news: their main power is benched for this stage entirely. He pulls up the sub-party board, dead and injured marked red across the roster, the build still functional but thin. What combinations and strategies could possibly hold a stage of this size? The question burns hot through his head. A red glitch slashes the air mid-thought, an alarm only the prince can hear, raw static knifing the room. A locked black carriage blazes red on his system, the shape and the dread both painfully familiar tonight. He names it instantly, the Dark Event Tracker, the system curse that has tortured him since the very first stage. Fearful. To Ash it always feels like a hand from above moving the one chess piece designed to ruin his entire game. Fine, what is it now? He snarls into the silence. At least the prince gets to know what is coming this time. The system stamps it red and ugly. GP Dark Event, one more boss monster will appear inside Stage 4. Ash pulls the Stage 4 enemy file and confirms the worst. The boss mob can be duplicated cleanly with no penalty. The Gargoyle army's boss alone is already brutal, and now a second one will be waiting somewhere in the rain. His eye narrows in the lamplight, the math of two bosses redrawing itself behind one long, slow exhale. No, he tells himself, let's think about this positively. The prince's smile already crawling back into place. He talks himself through it, the tactics for two boss monsters, perfectly normal once a campaign reaches its later half. He drags Nietzsche into the war room. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Never truer than inside an RPG. Then he flips it, eyes hard, daring the system out loud to throw a crueler dark event at him right this second. Send more boss mobs, send stronger enemies, anything to drag his level past wherever the script wants him capped. He swears he will chew them up, grind them down, level like crazy, and fill his pockets with absolutely insane items. He will make the world regret making him stronger, every obstacle that failed to kill him paid back in full. With the smell of rain pressing on the streets, Stage 4 quietly marches toward the manor's front gate at last. The pixel butler bursts into the room, eyes spiraling, mouth open in a silent scream, begging to correct his earlier report. Ash steps into the hall with the hooded blonde captain at his shoulder, eyebrow up, the prep work suddenly off the rails. Fearful Lily froze in her wheelchair as a tall hooded stranger stepped into the manor hall beside the prince. Ash explained quietly. The new sorcerer leader had to be introduced to the healer before anyone else. Fearful Lily's voice cracked open. That sub-party member over there. He cannot be what she feared. Color drained from her face as the braids swung. Lily already knew the answer. She just needed Ash to lie. Lily looked up at Ash and the gold trim of his collar swam. The room kept moving. She did not. Her village burned in the memory. Watchtowers fell. Elves opened the gates from inside. A year of buried betrayal returning at once. Lucas had sworn it to Ash in private. Whatever the prince hired this elf for, betrayal was already on her schedule. Do not trust them. They might destroy this front line the same way they opened the gates to my village, the warning ran. Ash held perfectly still. The girl in the chair could not be ordered to forgive an elf on command. We can't help but hate, Lily said softly. Species that are different from us. That is the country she grew up inside. Lily's history rolled out in chains and ashes, a generational hatred you do not undo with a contract and a bow. Godhand pulled her hood back. First, I would like to ask for your understanding. I used to work as an undercover agent. Ash blinked once. So you heard the entire conversation, he asked, the gold of his epaulets the only thing not flinching. As Godhand got closer, Lily's face turned even paler. She must really dislike elves, the prince registered, watching her hands. Godhand stepped under the lantern light, pale green eyes, no apology behind them, no flinch when Lily's grip whitened on the chair. Fearful Lily said nothing. The braid hung still. The healer's silence was somehow louder than any oath the elf could swear. But Miss Lily, the elf said gently, we are facing a war. Even before my country fell, the fight was already shared. And fight together under the command of His Highness. Godhand finished. Reason, pure reason, walking into a wound no logic could close. Lily turned, eyes rimmed red, mouth open. You hate humans too, she shot back, refusing the cleanness of the elf's argument. Godhand did not deny it. Behind the green hair, the cooling truth sat there, calmly waiting for Lily to face her own. Lily closed her eyes. She knew the math of the answer. She just had not finished bleeding from the question yet. 3 of them filled the apothecary, herbs above, healer below. Ash was the only thing that would move next here. Ash did not sweeten it. He brought the elf in because the manor was about to bleed without her. Lucas was also anxious about hiring elves, the prince said plainly. Most soldiers think the same way Lily does. Ash glanced sideways at Godhand. The hooded elf gave him nothing back. They were both standing in Lily's tribunal now. Lily folded her arms, jaw locked, eyes dry now. The grief had moved aside, and the strategist had taken its chair. As well as in the hands of His Highness, Godhand said. The hood made every word feel signed in blood. Her gloved hand pressed to her own throat as if a remote kill caller were already there waiting to choose for her. All I wish is for my people to live another day, and my teammates to be just a bit happier. Lily turned her chair away. The room watched the back of her head while she ran the numbers no one else could. Hands gripped the blanket over her legs, wood spokes, still wheels. The healer chose, in private, before saying it aloud. Elves and humans cannot have a good relationship, Lily admitted. But we have a common enemy. That is the honest sentence. We can fight against the monsters together, Lily said, eyes shut. Once. Just once. The word once was the entire treaty. Godhand lowered her face under the hood, accepting the once. No oath. No celebration. A working ceasefire signed by exhaustion. Lily turned back to Ash. We will fight together for this defense battle, she said. After that was after that. I will be leaving now. I need to rest, the elf said, slipping toward the door, leaving Ash standing in the after-image. She is thoughtful, the elf said as they walked. She cares for others, willing to sacrifice for the greater good. Ash glanced back at the empty doorway. He had not known Lily could express such hate so explicitly until tonight. I brought you here to say hi, Ash said dryly, and you got yelled at instead. Welcome to my staff orientation, basically. Your Highness is interesting to me, Godhand answered, voice level. The crazed psycho third prince, more sensitive than the rumor sold. Even from humans who treat us well, she said, there is still a prejudiced gaze that comes from them. That is just because I am from a different world, Ash said. On Earth, I was just an average narrow-minded citizen too. He stopped at the wooden door. So even if others are wary of us, you have my word, the prince said. Godhand pulled the hood up. The smile under the green braid was small, the first crack in her professional armor in days. Beyond the walls, Crossroads ramparts rose into the cold sky. It is the battle commander's responsibility, the system whispered against his ears. Subparty 1 flashed open. Body bag, Godhand, skull, old girl, burnout, levels 22 to 35. The 8th team had a system page now. Carry it and come in, Lucas, Ash said inside the tailoring room. Yes, your highness, the blonde aide answered, balancing the bundle. You 5 will wear these clothes from now on, Ash announced. Dark coats hung in lantern light. Sharp lines. The 8th team gathered in stunned, hands raised, eyes wide. The hooded assassins suddenly looked their actual age. It is the prototype of the military uniform I will distribute to the soldiers here, Ash said. Test article number 1. That is why I was making a separate uniform, the prince told the white-haired tailor at the counter. The old man bowed. Also, this is my personal opinion, Ash said. Military uniforms have to look cool. The dark coat hung in radiant light. My uniform for the Monster Front soldiers has been approved by Ader, the prince noted. Even Evangeline said it was pretty. Ash's smile leaned forward, sharp at the edge. He had wrapped a war machine inside a fashion line, and Crossroad thanked him. 2 elves pulled new black masks up over mouths and noses. The shadows of the manor took 2 soldiers home. You have all died in that team, Ash told them, voice flat as a verdict. The Igis counterintelligence corps was finished. The shadow unit, the prince called them. 5 hooded figures in a row, faceless, soundless, already different people inside the same skin. They will get new identities anyway, Ash said. Troublesome to keep treating them like the Igis special forces. New name for now. Ash turned in the lantern light, gold chain across his chest, the smile finally settling. Crossroad had its commander dressed and ready, and the sky turned black as the monsters flew towards us. A red cape on the parapet, the horizon already wings. A red-helmed soldier on the battlement screams the warning that ends every quiet day in this empire. Fearful Lucas and Ash turn together as the sky behind them blackens with wings the size of a cathedral roof. The system slate flips open. Stage 4 enemy info, 2 unknown bodies, and over 600 gargoyles of stone and steel. Ash mouths a promise to the wave, the kind a tyrant only makes to things he has already buried in his head. Fearful Lucas reads the numbers and admits aloud the math is not in their favor today. Ash answers without breaking stride, like a man who has stopped negotiating with the odds. The first wave breaks. Hundreds of gargoyles with split jaws and folded wings pour like rust toward the fort. The Crossroad banner snaps in the wind, the only ceremony left before they answer the sky. Ash tells the wall to sleep peacefully tonight, which from him is a death sentence aimed downward. The ancient mana cannon battery hums awake, gold-lined, half-cooled, already hungry. Soldiers ready their weapons on his single command, his gloved hand cutting the air above the trench. The crews lean against the iron, wedging shells home, every breath tasting of burnt powder and salt. Open fire. Ash roars at once and the whole battery answers in heat and thunder beneath him. The first volley screams out, golden tracers arcing into the dark of the gargoyle swarm. The aide repeats the order down the line, beard cut by smoke, voice cracked from screaming with the cannons. The barrels recoil hard, white shells of fire blooming above the field like opening flowers. Far across the valley the fireballs land, throwing rock and gargoyle alike into geysers of light. Then the closest cannon splits open in sparks, steam hissing where the cooling rune used to live. The blast clouds the sky behind the line. Soldiers cough through ash, helmets ringing, hands shaking. A young gunner stares at the dead barrel, trying to swallow the fact that his weapon just bit him. Above them the gargoyles howl, mouths burning yellow with new heat, closing the gap fast. Ash sees the flinch and cuts it off at the throat. Just keep shooting, he tells the boy, calm as ice. Lucas at his shoulder finishes the math aloud. Walls and barricades will not hold this storm. Ash names the kill zone. The sky itself, lit and braided shut by their own fire. Only focus on maintaining the firewall, Ash roars, and the order travels down every barrel like a heartbeat. Soldiers initially flustered by the gargoyle hide remember the order before the doubt fully lands. Give them a goal to focus on, and the line stops asking whether it can win. Fire, only fire. The storm of gunpowder and metal swirls endlessly, no breath, no pause, no thinking aloud. The mana shells punch sigils mid-air, green runes a curtain that says nothing crosses without paying. The first gargoyle answers anyway. Red eyes, cracked jaws, dragging its body straight through the burn line. We got our first kill count. The voice down the line carries something almost human in it. Even if the damage is minimal, it stacks. A few kills, but not pointless. Every body counted in the dust. The system pings, kill counts ticking up. 3, 4, 5, like coins in a tyrant's pocket. Ahead of the wall the explosions chain, the gargoyles getting pushed back into the smoke that bore them. Maintain the curtain of fire, Ash orders, the order tightening like a noose around the wave. The gargoyle army splits, then funnels. approaching from left and right, switching to a single file column. They began crowding toward the kill funnel, cleaner targets, denser bodies, more mass to dismantle in one sweep. Ash keeps his face flat, planning the second artifact, breath measured against the timer in his pocket. "Now, Lily," he calls out, voice cutting clean through the cannon thunder, 2 words and the field shifts. "Yes, Your Highness," the red-haired magician answers, soft brown eyes lit with green for the first time. Wind sigils bloom around her staff, carving green spirals straight through the smoke above the wall. There is no mind-blowing effect to it. It just shoots wind magic, simple and surgical, at its target. But that is all we need. If we shoot them with a higher level of wind magic, the gargoyles tip. Stone and steel friends, the kind of weight that loves gravity more than it ever loved wings. If they fall from the sky all the way to the ground, they will not survive the landing alone. Lily's spell catches the column. Bodies pinwheel, slam ground, shatter into rubble across the valley floor. If they attack the flames, they will be battered by artillery, trapped between the burn line and dirt. Before they lose their liftoff from the wind magic, Ash already has the next move cued in his head. "This is the end of the battlefield. We cannot get pushed back," Ash says, eyes locked forward. Fearful 20 seconds on the first artifact, Lily answers, voice sharp now, no doubt left in it at all. Ash turns the gold pocket watch over in his glove, the Empire pinned to that small ticking face. For a few of them started reaching the fort walls, breaking past the curtain of green and fire. The closest gargoyle hits the stone, hooked claws scrabbling for grip on the lip of the rampart. The body climbs, mouth gaping, eyes burning red against the towers, hunting any soldier in range. A red-armored soldier raises his shield as the claws come down on him from above the rampart. The roar fills the corridor, jaws wide, teeth shining like wet bone over the soldier's helmet. Then green eyes. A pale figure drops between the soldier and the monster, blade already swinging. The 8th team has been waiting. The strike opens the gargoyle's chest before its claws even land. The body folds back into the sky, broken wings flopping, falling away from the wall it almost owned. The white-haired elf turns, smiles small and feral. "You know I can block the left side as well too." The cannons drop into reload, smoke breath hissing from gold-lined muzzles, the second artifact ready. Ash turns to the gray-haired priest at his back. "You ready, Damien?" he asks, calm in the firelight. "I will do all that I can. It is our job to push off the remaining enemies through combat," Damien answers. Behind Ash, the system windows flare gold and blue, and the Tyrant smirks at the burning sky, the next phase already loaded.